Real solutions to money, relationships, wellness, and more. Shine a light onto your day and into your life. Power Your Life with Dr. Joanne White.
Hello, welcome to Power Your Life. I'm Joanne White, your host, and spring is finally here. Our first guest is also with us with some tips for planting and maintaining your garden's health and wellness this season. Here with me now from Bloomer's Home and Garden is Joe Ziccardi. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you tonight. So look at this incredible array, and what I'm very excited about is that you do a lot of sustainable practices, not only in your garden, but in you know, what you would tell people who come into the store. Tell us why sustainability is important and what are some of the practices?
Well, organic gardening and sustainable gardening is basically putting back into the environment what we take out by using non-chemical products. I brought some today, organic products such as organic fertilizer, which I brought in to take a look at. I have organic soil. If we start to use organic products, we get away from using heavy chemicals that are polluting our environment and hurting our children, our families.
And not only is it hurting our children and our families and the soil, but all the wonderful critters that actually we want to support.
Exactly. Getting away from heavy chemicals and using organic gardening practices it assures that we have more butterflies, hummingbirds, things that you might not have seen in your garden about 20 years ago are actually coming back into the gardens now.
You know, when you first brought this in, I thought, what is this? And this is very exciting because I think I'm going to have it in my backyard. So tell us about this, Joe.
I think I'm going to lose this to you, but that's okay. This is a wild bird nesting material wreath. Now, in the suburbs and in the city, there's not a lot of materials for songbirds to make nests with. If you look at sometimes nests, you'll see they use plastic bags and things.
Cigarette butts.
Cigarette butts, things that we do not want our birds to get a hold of because it's not good for them. This is an all-natural nesting material wreath that basically you just take it out of the box and you can hang it anywhere outside you want, and the birds will come and take the material off. It's made of some feathers. There's some wool in there. There's some natural fibers from aspen trees.
So they pick the fibers off. And they create a really sustainable, healthy nest for their babies.
Exactly, and you can watch them too. It's fun. If you put this in a visual spot where they will come, they will grab the nesting material and they will fly off to their nest, and they will repeatedly come back to this wreath and take more and more nesting material once they find it.
How long does it last? Just for one season?
It'll last a couple months probably, depending on how many birds are picking from it.
Okay, great. Speaking of birds, how do we attract more birds and butterflies to our garden?
Well, using plants that attract, birds and butterflies. I have here a seed mix. This is wildflower seed mix, and this seed mix attracts butterflies and hummingbirds to your garden.
Yes.
It's the plants that they need, that they desire when they come looking for nectar and things like that, and pollen.
You know what fascinated me? These elephant, what are they called?
They're elephant ears.
I
Yes.
never heard of that before.
This is actually a bulb, a really interesting looking bulb. Very easy to plant. You plant that in a semi-shady spot. It's great for moist areas. And these big giant elephant ear leaves come out, and they last all season long.
And they really look like elephant ears?
Yes, they look like elephant ears. It's very easy to maintain, and therefore when you're using easy to maintain plants, you're being sustainable. It's easier to maintain your garden in organic matter when you're using friendly plants.
Which again is so very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing all this wonderful stuff in our gardens, and people often just don't like some of what they call nasty insects and whatever. What do we do to get rid of them, but in a safety, if you need to, in a safety way? So again, we're not polluting the environment, the animals, the birds, the healthy critters that we want there, and also our children.
Well, one way is to plant plants that are easy to take care of. Also, you want to use plants that attract beneficial insects that will eat the bugs.
So when people go, well, you will probably educate them, but
Yeah.
let's say they go to a different garden store. How do they know what's what? How do they know?
Take a look at, when you look at any product, it will tell you if it's organic. I would look for more for organic products. I have organic fertilizer there, the soil builder, which is basically just aged bark, compost. It has lobster shells in it and worm castings. It's made from all that good stuff, all that byproduct that we get as consumers, and it's now made into a really interesting, good organic soil. That what that does is reduce the stress from the plants, and if we keep the stress down, then we don't need to use heavy chemicals, because stress breeds insects and disease problems.
So they get healthier and they're not getting
Yes.
all that
Yes, that's
stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. So the people's cry to not using organic products is it's so expensive, it's more expensive. What's your rebuttal to that?
It is a little bit more expensive, but in the long run, it benefits you. If you use a heavy chemical in your soil, it kills the microbes in the soil. The microbes which you need to transfer nutrients to the plants. And so if we kill the microbes and we kill the nutrients in the soil, then the plants suffer, and we need to add more fertilizer, more pesticides to offset that.
So it's more expensive, like you said, in the long run, and it's not as healthy, and it doesn't make everybody, all the critters and us, happy. And guess
Yes.
what I'm taking home with me?
I will not take that from you. That is yours to take, and enjoy that.
Thanks so much, Joe. Power Your Life will return in a moment. Up next, we will be talking to Erin Murphy, better known as Tabitha from Bewitched. Welcome back to Power Your Life. You might recognize my next guest as the adorable Tabitha on the hit TV show Bewitched. This year marks the 50th anniversary. Joining us now on the telephone to talk about what life has been like since the show is actress Erin Murphy. Welcome, Erin. How are you?
Thanks. I'm great. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. So let's just get right into it. You started acting on the show Bewitched at a very early age. What was it like to be a child star?
It was a great experience for me. I grew up on the set. I started on the show before I turned 2, and I was on, the show ran for 8 years, and it was really a wonderful place to grow up. I worked with amazing people, and I have great memories.
What was one of your most memorable moments from the show?
Oh, gosh. I think the whole thing. I think some of my fondest memories are, times I spent with the cast and crew away from the set. Elizabeth Montgomery has 3 children who are still some of my closest friends, and we would go trick-or-treating together and go up to the mountains together and things like that. So, I mean, it was really a great thing.
Speaking of children, you have 6 children, and your career has incredibly segued into being a producer, being a motivational speaker, being a scriptwriter, everything. How do you do that? How do you manage everything?
Well, I don't know. I've always felt that life is what you make of it, and I think you can constantly do new things and create new projects for yourself. And I like to be busy. I would go crazy, I think, if I were just sitting home on the couch doing nothing. So I think a lot of being a working parent involves juggling. I want to be there and take the kids to school and make breakfast and pick them up and help them with homework. And so I've gone out of my way to find projects that I can do that kind of coincide with being a great parent. So I try to book projects around kid time.
And it works because like I said, you're juggling everything. So you've also become a motivational speaker. How do you motivate people?
In a lot of different ways. I think it depends on the group I'm speaking to. I've talked to all the different schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District, and I talk about peer pressure and anti-bullying, and I talk about careers in entertainment, and I talk about special needs and parenting, and I can kind of gear my talk to whatever the group is. Since, once you've had a wealth of life experiences, you can talk about a variety of things. So it kind of depends who the group is.
And I think it's important what you're doing in terms of spreading the word to younger people, because you're helping them grow. They're the youth of today that may go into the different careers that you're doing, the varied careers. Your husband is Darren, which is very interesting because there was Darren on the show too.
That's right. It's just a coincidence. I didn't specifically go looking for a Darren, but I think it was just a funny coincidence.
You also have your own line, Erin Murphy Knits, and you've done a lot with raising money for that. Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, we have a ranch, a 10-acre ranch in Los Angeles, and I raise horses and alpacas and chickens and goats, and it's kind of a great ranch lifestyle. And with the alpacas, they have fiber that's like cashmere that you have to shear off once a year. And I ended up with bags and bags of fiber, and I thought it would be a good time to start knitting. So I started knitting hats and scarves, and I initially would donate them and still do to different organizations and hospitals and things. But I had so many people were asking to buy them, so I started a small knitwear company named Erin Murphy Knits. So I sell some products as well.
So this is the anniversary. What year is it? The anniversary of Bewitched. What are we doing to celebrate that?
Yes, well, this is actually the 50th anniversary of
Wow.
Bewitched, which is shocking. And they're doing a lot of things to celebrate it. I mean, there are a lot of different specials that are going on. They have the 8 seasons as a box set available, and Bewitched is still on TV, so people are still watching it, and that's a good thing.
I think it's great. And so being that child star, that child celebrity, did you feel that you were treated differently or specially by other children or by adults as you were growing up?
I don't know if I did, only because I truly grew up on television, so it's the only experience that I have. I know I went out of my way to be nice to other people and be a good person and do good things with my life. So hopefully I was judged on my, my quality of character, not just the fact that I was kind of famous.
So you do, like I said, you do so much. What kind of skills? It seems like, again, the producer and doing so much with teaching, acting, are the same skills transferable, or what kind of skills did you need to do all the varied jobs and work that you do?
Well, I think a lot of growing up on television, I was observant. I saw all the different things that, everybody was there working, and I paid attention to what everybody was doing. So I kind of was able to pick and choose which different careers in entertainment were interesting to me. And I truly like to try doing everything. So I've done a little bit of everything in the entertainment business, and it's been good for me.
And it not only has been good for you, but it's helped other people as well. As you were growing up on TV, was there one person, and we only have a few moments here, was there one person that stood out that was a mentor for you?
Well, I think in a lot of ways, Agnes Moorehead, who is my grandma on the show, is definitely a role model and mentor, as well as Elizabeth Montgomery, since I love them both so much. But Agnes Moorehead taught me how to knit, and that kind of segued into my knitwear business. And Elizabeth Montgomery is just somebody that, I'm very much like personality-wise, and she's just somebody that I loved and admired.
Thank you so much, Erin. It's been wonderful having you, and good luck with everything, with all that you're doing.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks. When we come back, she's fought adversity most of her life, and now she's come out on top. Philadelphia tax diva Nikki Johnson-Huston will join me after the break with her amazing story. Welcome back to Power Your Life. It's hard to believe that by the age of 9, my next guest was homeless. After years of fighting adversity and hardships, Nikki Johnson-Huston is now an award-winning and successful tax attorney in Philadelphia and an anti-poverty advocate, and she joins me now. Welcome, Nikki.
Thank you so much for having me, Joanne.
Thank you. And you went through years of poverty and you were on the streets. What happened to actually change your life?
Well, what happened was I was sent to live with my maternal grandmother, and I remember getting off the Greyhound bus after being homeless on the streets for several months, and she looked at me and she said, "Nikki, you're fortunate enough to be born in a different America than the America I was born into, to the greatest generation of women who have ever lived. What are you gonna do with that?" And I sort of shrugged and said, "I don't know." And then I thought about it and said, "I'm gonna be a lawyer, and I'm gonna have lots of shoes." And I'm a lawyer and I have lots of shoes.
And you have great shoes,
Thank
right?
you.
So it was your grandmother's inspiration, her words, her encouragement that really inspired you. And you go around not only in this country, but all over to inspire others. Why is advocacy so important?
You know, advocacy is so important to me, again, because of my grandmother. She taught me the importance of service, that no matter what your background was, that there were people who would have less in the world, and that I had an obligation to help others. And it's very personal to me. I wish that I had seen somebody who was going through homelessness and poverty who could be an example for me. And so I want to be that kind of example for young people.
And you are, which is very rewarding, and also it's helping to change lives. You got a scholarship for college, and you flunked out of college. What did that do for you? And again, how did you get back on top?
Well, I think it taught me some very important lessons, that sometimes you're going to fail, but it doesn't make you a failure, and that I needed to ask for help, and that there was no shame in needing help. And I was fortunate enough, again, for the right people to come into my life. I got a job as a live-in nanny on the main line for a family of lawyers, and they talked me into going back to college at night, and they changed their schedule around to make sure that somebody was home at night so that I could go. And I was able to graduate in 1998 with my bachelor's degree in business.
Bravo, and you've done a lot with it. So the important aspect here is that you've had people, your grandmother, the people that you were a nanny for, you've had people that have been encouraging you and that helped you move along and really give you the strength, the determination. When you go around and you advocate for people and talk to them, what's an important message to them, and what do you want them to give back to other people?
Well, I think it's twofold. One is that everyone needs help to achieve. Some people are fortunate enough to be born into situations where they have a family that can help them, but again, that's still help. And so that it's important for people to help you, but it's equally as important for you to be willing to accept their help, but also to do your part in it. Like, no one can live your dreams for you. No one can, live your life, but that no matter what circumstances you're born into, all of us are capable of achieving something great in life.
So basically, to really tap into that inner greatness that we have. And you and I were talking earlier about vulnerability, and oftentimes people think being vulnerable is not a healthy thing, but what you're saying is vulnerability, this is my belief, vulnerability is really a strength, to be able, like you said, Nikki, to ask for help and also to be able to give help. What is one of your most rewarding moments in your whole career and of advocacy?
I mean, one of the most amazing things was I got the opportunity a couple of years ago to go to India and as an Eisenhower Fellow. And I was given the opportunity to go to a night school for children of untouchables who had to work during the day. And these children were between 8 and 10 years old. And they were lined up to come and see me. Their parents had brought them to hear my story. And so many of the kids said to me, "You were a street kid like us?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "You're telling us that we're capable of doing anything and being anyone that we want to be?" And I said, "Yes, you are." And for me, that was really a full circle moment, that I could go to a place where people were a completely different culture than me, but that we sort of had that human value of wanting to be better. That parents wanted something better for themselves. Children wanted to see someone who had come from their background. Even though I was a different race, we had that human value in common of wanting to be our best selves.
So there's that incredible, like you said, that human connection and that understanding, no matter what race, no matter what language, that really crosses all barriers.
Absolutely.
Have you still been in contact with any of these people, and have you seen any of these kids change and grow into something incredible?
They're still very young, but I've been fortunate enough that people do try to keep in contact with me by email. I'm lucky. I meet so many people, and I try to mentor them in a variety of ways. Sometimes, people will call me on a regular basis, or they'll send me an email just to let me know how they're doing. And you know, for me, it's so important to not put myself up on a pedestal, but for them to realize that I'm just like they are, and that we just have so much in common, and that I was able to achieve my dreams, and that with the right work and belief in themselves, and the right mentoring, and the right mindset, that they also can achieve what's important to them.
Now, you also have a boutique tax, your own firm, really, a tax firm, right? And so what do you do with that?
Very exciting. About 9 months ago, I left my job as an assistant city
Right.
solicitor after almost 7 years, and I opened my own tax law firm. So I'm the phillytaxdiva.com. It's my first tax season, and I'm very excited. And I think, you know, it just goes to show that dreams, you know, they change throughout your life, and this was just a new dream that I had.
So, birth new dreams, don't bury your old dreams. Thank you so much, Nikki. You are an inspiration for so many people, including me.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Power Your Life will return in a moment. Ahead, find out what's coming up next week. The challenge of clean drinking water has become a global concern. After visiting India and seeing little children drinking water from a stagnant pool, Topeka Kurup at age 14 was determined to do something to change all that. She invented a solar-powered water jug that changes dirty water into purified drinking water. Topeka was also named America's top young scientist. Her cost-effective and sustainable water purification system harnesses solar energy. Not only that, it disinfects contaminated water using portable purification, and it kills many types of bacteria in less time than any other method. Anything is possible with imagination and with determination. Be fearless, get inspired, and inspire others. That's it for tonight's Power Your Life. On next week's show, Deborah DiLorenzo, the president of Southern New Jersey Chamber of Commerce, joins me to discuss ways the Chamber can help entrepreneurs and everyone in the community grow together. See you then. Remember that you have the power to power your dreams and power your life.